This is commercial-free, listener-sponsored Pacifica Radio, KPFT Houston.
KPFT Houston today on the in-studio performance right here on Wide Open Spaces. A young man, he started playing blues and rock and moved on to R&B and blue-eyed soul. And his tour basically ends tonight right here in Houston, Texas. It's his first time playing Texas and first time, of course, at KPFT. Jefferson Thomas, welcome to KPFT. How you doing this morning?
Hello, Houston.
Good to see you. Is that your northeastern accent?
No, that was my attempt at Spinal Tap. But hello, Houston.
What's going on?
I'm confused. I'm from New York and I'm in Texas and I'm trying to do a British accent. So
You threw me off, that's for sure.
Oh, and actually, I should hasten to clarify that the duck date is tomorrow night. Actually,
and I keep thinking it's tonight, but it is tomorrow night. So you're in town a day early. What are you going to do all day? First time in Houston.
There's the radio tour today.
Okay.
And then actually we're doing an in-store over at Cactus at 5:30 today.
Okay.
So I'm just bouncing around the town with a guitar.
What other radio station's cool enough to have you on, man?
Oh, well, am I supposed to say that?
Go ahead. I'm not scared.
I'm going to drive way down south to KACC when we're done.
The Gulf Coast Rocker.
Yeah.
89.7. I cut my teeth.
Wow, okay.
You tell Mark Moss. Are you hanging out with Mark Moss today?
I believe it is Mark Moss.
Yeah, man. You tell Mark Moss that I got to you first.
But I thought this was like coming on Pepsi and talking about Coke or something.
I used to work for Pepsi, man. It's all good. We're all friends. This is Texas, man. Everybody gets along.
See, that's the thing. I'm in the New York like, what? You talk to those guys? You're out of here.
Yeah, right. Hey, how did it all start, man? I know your dad was a huge musician with a giant guitar collection.
Yeah.
And sadly enough, he recently passed, and you got to take on the feat of. Do you have room in your house for all his guitars?
It's funny you say that. I really don't, because first of all, I have too many guitars,
right?
And I'm keyboards and mandolin and bass. I play a lot of different instruments, so. And obviously, I would trade all of his classic guitars to have him back for one day,
Right.
But I inherited another dozen of his, so there are 31 guitars in my house.
Wow.
And it's
Are
not
you
a
married?
house, it's in an apartment.
Are you married?
I just got married last year.
So does she have to sleep in between you and the Gibson?
We're going to put her up on the roof, or if there's room out in the van.
Very cool, man. And Dad was a songwriter and performer, but he mostly was a side guy.
I think he sort of transitioned from one into the other. He did most of his career was back when I was so young that I don't really remember it.
Okay.
And that's been kind of a cool thing to kind of do forensics, like go back now and look at
do some history on Dad.
And I also inherited his old reel-to-reel tape recorders because
Wow.
he collected stuff from back. Even before he, so I have like technology and instruments from the 50s and the 60s and all the stuff that made the music we love to listen to is like in a case in my house, which is really cool.
Nice.
And I think he transitioned from he did the whole Nashville songwriter thing and he was busting his butt at that. And I don't know, I'm still trying to figure out how well that went. But then he, of course, we
got married and had a family.
Well, we do. Yeah, that makes me feel guilty. It's like, so I came along and ended his career. No, so he transitioned into, and that's what we do in this business. We do what we can do. You wear a lot of different hats. And, he did a lot of sideman work. He did some radio work himself. He was just, for me, he was just a musical presence.
Sure.
And I found an old CD of him just hanging out in a music store in New Mexico somewhere. This is only from maybe 15 years ago.
Right.
So, and he's just hanging out with these, these. It's like a upscale acoustic guitar store, and he's trying different stuff out. And he's the guys are trading licks back and forth, and he's telling stories and stuff. But yeah, it was just, and it surprised me. I had it in the car, and I'm like, wow, it was just great to hear.
So you said you kind of retired from all that, basically, or put it on the back burner while you were growing up. So what was his influence on you?
No, he was still playing out. He wasn't doing stuff nationally.
Okay.
Before I was born, he was touring nationally. And
so he just did weekend gigs.
Yeah, he did a lot of weekends. I think he taught guitar,
Okay.
which I have to confess is something I have zero desire to do. I was like, I got my 4 licks, and I'm not giving them to anybody. But yeah, so he just did a lot of playing in the Catskills, upstate New York, a lot of that kind of stuff. And
so he take you on gigs growing up? Or?
He did, man, and that's some of my earliest experiences. I remember watching him do some of those Catskill gigs where you're just out there for 4 hours. No set lists, and he would just pull stuff from the decades. He would know an old World War I song. He would know a World War II song. He would know stuff from the 70s and ancient. But I mean, no list. He's just I think he was looking around who's
reading
there and sort of catering to the room at any given moment. And I didn't know what that was when I was 6 or 7, but now it's wow, who can still do that?
Yeah. So do you have a catalog that big?
I do not have a catalog. That
Working
big.
on it?
Working on it.
How many records you got, man?
I believe it's 4.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah.
All right, and the fourth one just came out.
Fourth one just came out. Well, it just came out like last 6-8 months. So
Okay.
it's the newest.
It's
so we'll call it
new to us.
Yeah, it's new.
All right, very nice. Jefferson Thomas live in the KPFT studio for the first time. First time playing in Texas tonight at the tomorrow night at Lucky Duck. He's playing tonight for the first time in Texas at Cactus at 5 p.m.
Yeah.
What are you going to share with us first? What do you got?
This is a song that I wrote for a friend. This was on the first album about 10 years ago, and you always have that one song that just never leaves the set list. Hopefully because other people want to hear it, but also because it's special and it never gets old. And I've played this 10,000 times, and it's a simple little thing called Jacksonville. Look out now, make a room for me. Been 3 days running and I can't see. I'll pass you on like you're standing still. Then I pull off into Jacksonville. Chasing dragons in a hotel room. Sun's coming up on a misty moon, and I should be asleep, but I lie here still in a hotel room in Jacksonville. All night looking at a broken white line. It's time to think about what ain't mine. I've had my fun, but I've had my fill. Now I'm walking the streets of Jacksonville. Lose the edge and lose your will. And lose yourself on the streets of Jacksonville.
Fantastic. All the way from New York City. Jefferson Thomas, first time on KPFT and first time playing in Texas. Right,
that might be the most Texas thing I have, so I figured we start off with.
All right. Well, as the reason I named it Wide Open Spaces, I wouldn't have to pick a format. So you can change it up, man. We're not scared here.
We'll do the raging death metal next.
Okay, hey,
mixed
man.
with Gregorian chant.
I can't wait to hear that one. You are definitely a musical gumbo if you can pull that off. Hey,
I like that. Can I use that?
Yeah, you came up with it, man. You grew up in upstate New York?
Yeah, in upstate New York, a lot of people who don't know about New York, they think it's all New York City.
Right.
And the number one industry of New York State still is dairy farming.
Okay.
So, so people, upstate New York, as I always refer to as the northernmost point of the Deep South.
Right. And how long did it take you to get to the city itself?
As far as living there, it was probably, I've been there so long, I don't even remember. But, trips down there is one thing, but living there, I've been down there, over 10 years now.
Is that home forever? You're going to stay there?
That's an interesting question because it's, for me, just for my situation, your show isn't long enough to go into detail, but it just works for me. And the funny thing is I have to explain this, I don't play New York that much, but it's a great hub And I have nothing against playing there. I'm just so busy. I'll play Europe, and I'll come down here, and it's a great airport location.
Right.
And it's just in terms of being in the business, it's one of New York, Nashville, Los Angeles, same old triumvirate. I mean, you got to be in one of them, really.
Yeah. What's the name of this latest record?
This is called Play Hurt.
Okay.
And actually, the reason it's called Play Hurt was because I started a lot of the songs on there. I was writing and actually recording them as I was losing my dad a few years ago. And when you play music for a living, I mean, you can't just stop. So, I mean, I was, things were kind of getting out of hand up there in upstate New York where he was. I was driving up and putting out all kinds of fires, but still, doing, I don't know, 150 dates a year or something, going over to Europe and like waiting for a phone call any second. And, so you got to keep going.
Right.
But it was after he was gone, that I realized, wow, you just really worked right through that, and I'm a big football fan. So, the football players always tell you got to play hurt, man. If you're injured, too bad, next guy up if you're not there.
Yeah, right.
So, and it's that way in the music business too, man. If you're not ready to go, somebody's there ready to, somebody is. Yeah.
Very cool. So, this thing is about 8 months old, you said?
Yeah, something like that.
All right, so are you looking ahead of the next one?
I'm already working on the next one.
Okay.
I'm on a plane back to New York at 6:25 a.m. on Saturday.
Okay.
And, oh, God, I can't believe I said that.
Well, then you got 2 weeks off, though, right?
Yeah, I got 2 weeks off, and I've already, a lot of the pre-production stuff and the writing has already begun, so I'm really going to kind of see what we got and see where it's going. Because you like to have it, we still live in an album world. I'm sorry. A lot of people don't. Well, the thing is, it is an album world. It's just a lot of people choose not to live in it.
All right.
But I mean, by that, I mean, you got to have a cohesive theme.
Yep.
You can't, 2 or 3 songs isn't enough. 30 songs is too much. And I think the reason that the whole album thing worked historically was because it was just a natural amount of work that somebody could digest at any given time. And then you work on that, and the next year you do another one, So.
It's a beautiful transition into one song to another that kind of accent each other to make a
So I
package.
still make music that way.
Yeah.
If somebody
Right.
if somebody wants to carve it up into one song at a time, fine. As long as the songs are good, I can live. But for me, I got to create something that pleases me. Then hopefully it hits you. So you got to come up with about maybe 10 or a dozen songs that hang together.
We've got Jefferson Thomas live in the studio playing tonight at Cactus at 5 o'clock, tomorrow night at the Duck at 9:30. What are you going to sing for us next?
I think that last song was also a sneaky way to see if the voice is working at this hour.
Okay, so you got it all.
So now that I think we'll do the songs in order of what's sung higher.
All right.
So this is this is a perfect song for what we were talking about. This song I wrote about being in the music business, but on a larger scale, it relates to anyone doing what they love and sacrificing for it and not being able to do some other things. And it's called All I Ever Wanted. All I ever wanted takes you to the end. Say it's all over. You won't be back again. You can't find the feeling you live for yesterday. Sometimes you make it, sometimes you fake it, sometimes it ain't enough, but it's all I ever wanted. So I'm on the road today. It's all I ever wanted since I was a child. It put me on the highway. Set it up and do it again. Sometimes you make it, sometimes you fake it, sometimes it's just enough, but it's all I ever wanted, and I'm coming home today.
beautiful. Jefferson Thomas live in the KPFT studio. Fantastic, oh, man. That sounds beautiful. If I'm not mistaken, your romp through the UK, Germany, Netherlands, and Denmark in 2017, you kind of got your songs off Play Hurt. You kind of played them every night.
Yeah.
Came back home and
I ended up selecting which ones were going to be used because man, if you're going to find out what songs work, man, the way to do it is put them up in front of people.
All right.
And it was real interesting. I did that in Europe, and some songs are received a certain way by. In fact, the next song I'm going to do, the Germans apparently don't like. I don't believe this, but I got married to a German girl last year, and she tells me, "Don't do that song in Germany. The Germans will not like that." And I'm like,
did she tell you why?
She was kind of full of it because I did it in Germany anyway, and they liked it anyway. No, but I think because it's a little bit sort of a folk gospel thing with a little 2/4 bar turnaround, and maybe that's just not proper enough for the Germans. I don't know, but the other Germans seem to love it. So maybe it was her subtle way of saying she doesn't like it. Right.
Well, Americana and roots music is used in Europe.
It's huge over there.
You got a nice fan base, right?
Yeah, and that's the other weird thing. The weirdest thing about this trip was flying from New York to Houston. It's 3 hours 30 minutes. I'm like, wait a minute, man. What about the 9-hour flight? This is easy. We don't even put the wheels up for this.
Yeah, right. You write best on the road?
Yeah, for some reason, that's kind of what's happening right now, actually. I've been trying to write songs over the summer while most of the playing I've been doing has been regional, so there's not a lot of travel involved. But for some reason, if I pack my bags and it just awakens a part of your brain that I guess maybe the logistics of your day-to-day life, all the
you don't have to worry about laundry and walking the dog and all that stuff.
That you're mired in, your brain is in that place. And I guess for me, it just liberates the brain to go to all right, forget all that. Now, all that creative stuff you kind of been keeping over in this compartment.
Break it back out.
Yeah. And so for some reason, I think I'll struggle with a song idea or something. And then all of a sudden, once I'm out for a few days, it's like, oh, that goes like this. And then there you go.
Well, how's it been in Texas?
I've been rocking the GPS a little bit too much.
Okay.
But I think we'll probably find out today. We had a rehearsal up in Austin last night and driving all around today.
Run.
I've been I get real super paranoid, just logistical guy. You're here. You got to do these things. I was scouting locations yesterday. It's like, where is KPFT? Because we don't want to be finding KPFT tomorrow. We want to be arriving there.
Right.
So yesterday was like Mr. Logistics, and so I think tonight will probably be where I find where the brain finally relaxes a little bit.
Okay. All right. Very nice. Well, we'll expect to hear some of the songs you wrote here in Texas on maybe the 5th album.
Yeah,
I think those are all picked out. Maybe it'll be number 6.
No, and you know what? They're not picked out. We're doing inventory next week.
Okay.
And inventory includes things that don't work.
I see.
It's like,
all right. Do you think that far ahead? Are you looking at number 6 already? Is it one album at a time?
It's not even one album at a time. You know what? Every time I do
one song at a time.
Every time I've done one of these, it's like that's the last one I'm doing. The world doesn't want records anymore. The world doesn't buy music. The world doesn't care. I go through this whole self-destructive that's the last record I'm ever doing. Then halfway into the next one, you're like, all right.
I got these 5 songs. What am I going to do with them? We got Jefferson Thomas live in the studio, free tonight at Cactus, 5 p.m. St. Arnold's will be on hand. It's make sure you get one of those local beverages.
See, I was going to say that might be the thing that loosens me up.
Yeah, well, there you go. It's going to be there for you. And then tomorrow night at the what's this last one?
Here's
a
perfect example. This is a song that after going through all the stuff with my dad and having worked through all that and everything, I was playing. There's a place I do up in the Hamptons every summer. I play every Sunday there. It's like a summer residency.
Okay.
And it's fantastic because they just give me the day to do whatever I want musically.
Right.
And a lot of these songs got fleshed out there. This one got written out in the parking lot after sound check. I'm like, I think it works. Let's just play it. So I just played it live, and the whole place is like, oh yeah. So we'll do it in tune.
Did they make you wear white shorts and tuck in a short sleeve polo?
You know what? The cool thing is that there is that element, but this is right at the edge of the Hamptons.
So it's a little cooler neighborhood?
Well, there's bikers.
Oh, wow.
There's people who take care of the lawns of people in the Hamptons. It's just a real party scene, but it's also...
it's a working man's neighborhood of the Hamptons.
It's a working man's neighborhood, but it's been a real musical lab for me because when I say it's a Hamptons gig, people think exactly what you just thought.
Right.
Like, oh, a white party.
Oh, going to the Hamptons, are you?
We have our pinkies out. You can't see that on radio.
Right. Will I be able to hear you on the next yacht over.
But it's a great. It's I gotta say it's the gig that has taught me most about what I do and how to do it. So I mean, it's a lot of fun. It's margaritas and sun, but it's a lot of work.
All right.
Yeah. So this was, hey, you know what? Perfect last song. This is called "Might Be Leaving."
All right.
And Germans love it. Lying in the dark, I hear you breathing. Gonna leave this world, but not today. I was thinking that I might be leaving, and I was already gone. Woke to find I had been only dreaming. I'm still here to carry on. I was looking at somebody grieving in a graveyard cold and gray. Now I'm thinking that I might be leaving. Someday I will, but not today. I was thinking that I might be leaving. I was thinking that I might be leaving. I was thinking that I might be leaving. I was thinking that I might be leaving.
Jefferson Thomas live in the KPFT studios. Hey, it was great chatting with you. Nice to meet you. Thanks for stopping by. And don't be a stranger to KPFT or Texas, all right?